and even smaller yet. That's a flat beam. Hey, story time. Well, it's not a quick story to tell you. My stories never are quick. About a month and a half ago, my daughter got a call at the hardware store from one of the banks that we do business with. And they said, hey, we've got a check here that from your account that someone is trying to cash. This is from my account, the hardware store account. The check was for $14,000 and some change. They wanted to know if we had written the check. And they told her the name on the check, and it was not a name that she recognized, so immediately she called me. And I said, that amount sounds familiar, but the name doesn't sound familiar. I said, I just wrote a check to True Value to pay for our weekly purchases for that amount, but I don't recognize the name on the check. I said, so tell the bank to deny the check and not pay it. So she did. So that afternoon I went to the bank and I said, hey, what's going on? And they said, well, you are the 5th or 6th person this week who's had this issue where a check has been someone has tried to cash a check and it's not the person they wrote the check to. So what that meant is I had to close down my checking account and open a new checking account. So in the meantime, in doing a little bit of research, what we have found out is someone is stealing checks out of the mail system, and it's not out of our local mail system. It is out of the regional distribution system. So our mail leaves here and it goes up to a distribution center near Washington, D.C., where then, it is distributed to where it needs to go. So someone, what we believe, is stealing checks out of that mail distribution center, and then they're trying to cash them. Well, further research, I discovered that 5 checks that I had written and mailed within a 2 or 3 day period, 5 checks had been stolen or come up missing. But they only chose to try to cash the largest check, and that was the $14,000 check. The other 4 checks, they have not showed up yet, and that has been almost 2 months ago that I mailed them. And it is just a pain in the butt with the number of checks that I write every month. I probably write 30 to 60 checks every month between the hardware store, the farm, and my personal checks. So this has just been a pain in the you-know-what to try to straighten out. So I got the new account straightened out, got the new account open. Well, I do all of my accounting with QuickBooks, the software program QuickBooks made by Intuit. I do my own payroll as well. I don't send that out to a service. All of my employees get paid by direct deposit. Well, I had this account that had been compromised. That was also my payroll account. So I've had to handwrite checks to my employees for 2 pay periods, trying to get this account, the new account, set up with QuickBooks. They have just been a pain in the butt. I call QuickBooks the mafia of business financial accounting. They have a monopoly on the financial accounting software, and they are just so difficult to deal with. Each time you call, you get somebody from a foreign country that you can't fully understand them. In fact, you can't call them. There is no number. I have not found a number that I can directly call them. You have to send them an email or a chat with your phone number for them to call you back. And I don't like that. So the first time I sent the paperwork in to set up the direct deposit for my employees with my new checking account information, a week goes by and I don't hear anything from them. It's time to pay the employees again. I get on the phone. Well, somehow or another, they've lost that paperwork or it didn't get processed. Oh man, I was hot and I went off on them. So finally, after more than a month, I do have my QuickBooks payroll set up again. So employees got paid. Well, I've done the payroll for this week. Direct deposit should go into their accounts tomorrow. So fingers crossed that they get their direct deposit tomorrow. As a side note on that, my teenage employees, this was their first time getting a physical check, and one or two of them did not know what to do with it. That's pretty sad that people don't know what to do with the check when they get it. But anyway, that's a side note. Well, another issue has cropped up over the last week or so. True Value called. They called my daughter at the store and said, hey, we've got some outstanding invoices from a month and a half ago that have not been paid. Well, as soon as I found out that check that was compromised, that $14,000 check, I wrote another check within days. As soon as I got the new account open, I wrote another check to True Value and sent it to them. So I called the accounts receivable department at True Value and talked to the guy, and he said, oh yeah, we've received that check. And he gave me the date that he received it. He gave me the amount. I said, yep, that's right. But for some reason, it wasn't applied to those invoices. And he said he was going to send me an email showing some detail. Well, he never did. So I called him back today. Well, after further discussion, what happened was they received the check. They deposited the check, but it was returned. For some reason, the first week that my new checking account was open, the bank had put a hold on it. So True Value had sent that check for deposit. There was still a hold on that account, so it got returned to them for non-payment. All because we have some thieves in the mail system, and I'm sure they're postal worker employees that are stealing the mail right out of the mail system. Just aggravating. Oh, so 2 days after I found out my check was stolen, I was talking to one of our other local business owners and telling him, hey, just be aware. He said, oh, we don't write that many checks, or we don't mail that many checks. He said, most of our vendors, as soon as they come in, we pay them with the check and they walk out the door. I said, okay, well, just be aware. 2 days after that, my daughter goes in there to pick up lunch, and the owner comes over and says, hey, guess what? We had a check stolen out of the mail for over $9,000, tried to cash it. So yeah, he had to go through the same thing that I went through. New accounts, checks bouncing from the other vendors. What a mess. Then the following week, my daughter had another local business come into the store, needed a notary. Same thing happened to them. Check stolen out of the mail. So they were going through the process of new bank accounts and whatever else. This problem needs to be fixed. This is Biden's problem. When we cannot rely on the mail system to get our checks where they need to go, that is a problem. Of course, the conspiracy theorist in me says this is all a ploy to get us to go digital, so digital currency, so the government can track every little move like to pay my bills with a check and put them in the mail. After 40 years of a checking account, this is the first time this has ever happened. Credit cards, on the other hand, hell, every year, every 6 months to a year, I have a credit card that gets compromised, and I have to close that account and get a new credit card. It just happened to me 2 weeks ago, and I don't do that much stuff over the internet, and very seldom do I check the box that says save this credit card information for future purchases. But even though you don't check the box, you know those companies are saving that information. On our trip to Georgia and Pennsylvania, Georgia and Tennessee, we ran across a couple of businesses, credit card only, credit debit card only, no cash. When I go on vacation, I usually carry cash and pay for everything in cash. So luckily there were signs on the door warning us of this before we walked in. So we just bypassed those businesses and went elsewhere that would take our cash. I don't know, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I think it was right before we went on vacation, a friend asked if I would like to go to our local minor league baseball stadium for a baseball game. I said, sure, why not? Well, he paid for the tickets, so I wasn't aware of this going in. I was aware he paid for the tickets, but anyhow, I go up to the concession stand to get a hamburger and a soda, and the girl rings me up, $10 and some change or whatever. I hand her a $20 bill. She said, oh, I'm sorry, we don't take cash here. I said, what? Yeah, we don't take cash here. It's all credit cards. I look down on the counter, and guess what they have sitting on the counter? They have a bucket with a sign on it that says tips. And guess what's in the bucket? Cash. Yes, they have cash in the bucket, yet they won't take cash for my payment, but they'll gladly take cash for tips. I picked up that bucket and I said, well, if you're not taking cash, then you should not have this tip bucket on the counter. I said, no, this cannot happen. And I got a little loud, and that doesn't normally happen. The cooks in the back started looking, other people around started looking at me, but no, you can't have it both ways. To only take my credit card for payment, but then you'll gladly accept cash for tips? Oh, hell no. Well, I think I was embarrassing my friend. He pulled out his credit card to pay. It's not that I didn't have a credit card. It was the principle of the matter. I was already pulling out my credit card as I was going off on this poor girl. No, as I said, it's all or nothing. I do not like this new way of doing business. I still like cash. I always have probably at least $100 in my pocket at all times. Okay. See, I told you that story wasn't going to be short. you can't see it, but there's a cloud of dust over there. It looks like the neighbor is cutting soybeans today. Yeah, when I rode by that field a couple days ago, I was surprised at how they had dried up as well. I've still got about another week. You can see some, let me zoom out here. You can still see some green here in these soybeans. So I think I've got about another week before I can get out and cut these. I called the crop insurance agent over the weekend and said, hey, I think I may have a claim on soybeans this year. So just to be on the safe side, I wanted to get that claim in. Let's see if I can pop this open with one hand. Alright, well, we got three beans in that pod, but yeah, they don't have any size to them. And this part of the field, the water lays there, you can see it's still a little bit green here. So a little more moisture here just because it's a little lower spot, but if you go out into the field a little further, where the water did not lay, and we're going to get one like this one. That only have 2 in there, and they are much smaller. Down here, this one here, and even smaller yet. That's a flat bean. Yeah, they had the pods on them. They had the height to them, but we just ran out of water. And started in the first part of August, and that was the end of them. Let me see if I can zoom in now. Can you see that dust, that cloud of dust rising over there? All right, back to the job at hand. And that is unloading this corn. Looks like the pellets have been delivered. My truck is back here. I had asked my daughter to stop by Napa and get a starter for the other truck. Let's see if she got one. Hey, would you look at that? We've got a new starter. Okay. $158. Hey, and I have a full tank of gas. 20. Oh, she stopped at Sheets. I'm not a fan of Sheets, but hey, she filled the tank up. But I did give her my credit card. 26 gallons, $3. 35.9 a gallon, $88. Okay. Now I just got to find time to get that starter on the other truck. I still see dust over in the neighbor's field. Man, he's got a lot of dust going over there too. Wow. So he's still cutting soybeans. I'm anxious to hear how his soybeans did. I think he's in the same boat as I am with the yield and the drought hitting them hard. Well, okay, I think I can wrap this video up for the day. By the time this gets off of here, it's time for me to head home. I've already been told that I need to stop by DG and get some hamburger buns, so I guess I'm having hamburgers for dinner tonight. I've got some bookwork to do in the office, so I'm leaving here. It's going to be 5:30 when I get out of here, but I do have some bookwork to do in the office, so I'm not staying down here late today because of that. All right, until next time, I'm going to say